Hey, everybody. Today I'm going to talk about something different because I usually talk about a lot of sometimes of the negative aspect because you have to talk about what is negative and point out certain things because even when people examine themselves, they don't necessarily, in my opinion, see where they come short. So today I'm going to talk about being in love. A lot of people out here, they're not looking for love. We know they're looking for help. And some things are obvious, like when a female wants you to take them to a five-star restaurant and you just met them. Five-star restaurants usually are preserved for people that are in a relationship. And a lot of females out here, and I think love is beautiful. The expression of love is beautiful. I have a great big expression of love. Okay. And a lot of people, they have a misconception. They think just because they show up in your life or they put on 10 pounds of makeup and try to make themselves look the trendy look of what's beautiful. But I always tell people beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I tell men, you date a woman, tell her to take all that makeup off. Tell her if you can't date her barefaced it the first go round to truly see what she look like, don't invest. Don't invest. Because a lot of these makeup people have tape. You may not see the difference, but tape, pulling their skin up and different things, tape this way, and when they get through and the contouring and even changing the shade that they are, with makeup, they be 4 shades lighter. I always tell people you have to be attractive to the person that you're pursuing. A lot of people nowadays just pursuing what is easy, what's gonna invest in them till they find what they want. Then they angry because they got stuck. Then you wonder why people, they be like, well, he don't do nothing romantic with me because he ain't interested. Or she just be, hanging out with her friends because she ain't in love. She married, I'm married. Sometimes they get married. Get with an ugly person so they can spend some money. Or get with somebody kind of slow because then they gonna think they doing something and you just getting experiencing different experiences that you can't afford, or you want to be able to have something to brag to your friends about, but you never really looked at that person. So I always tell men, first tell them to take the makeup off. Sit down. If they can't go to a coffee brunch, coffee shop, and have a sandwich, you ain't necessarily gotta have coffee, but have a small sandwich or something, get to talk and talk about what you enjoy, and it's not, people say, well, you can do that on the phone. It's not about being on the phone. It's seeing how your chemistry and energy interacts when you're together in person. You don't see that over the phone. It's very important that when you have at your time of leisure that you have an interaction with someone, and it can't be somewhere where you just wanted to experience a certain thing or have bragging rights. It has to be somewhere where it keeps you in tune to the other person to really see, are you a match? Okay? You don't have an audience. It's not a place of glamour. It could be somewhere like the river walk and you're walking, or you on the eating lunch on the boat. See, that's how Detroit is. A lot of states, they have water, bodies of water, and you can dine on the boat, and it's common. It is not, most time it's not really that expensive. So when you go, you're paying attention to that person. Or when I tell somebody, well, it's cute, you go to River Walk and you set up your little picnic area or sit at the table where you can talk, when you can, interact with one another. Ask what type of music you like. Bring your little music box, your phone with the speaker, play some music. Talk about the things you enjoy, what songs you enjoy, why you enjoy them. You know, people don't want to get to know a person. They just want to get in there and have their hooks in them so they can spend their money or their resources. And that's not really what love is about. You know, I saw one of the most touching videos on TikTok one day. It could have been YouTube too, but it had to be a short. This girl was in the video and she was doing something kind of goofy, and I was like, what is she doing? He said, but at the end she turned and say, but they still love you in spite of your weirdness. And I was like, that's it. That's it. Because if you have to put on 10 pounds of makeup to get someone to look at you, they really ain't looking at you. They're looking at your technique and skill to hide and camouflage. And a lot of females don't get that. You know, they're going to get the BBLs and implants and Botox, and they trying to look younger and younger and younger. And I tell people that's not the key to life. The key to life is even when you begin to age, and everybody don't age gracefully, that person still have that twinkle in their eye when they look at you, because your spirit intertwines. You know, when that person want to be there for you and do little things for you and find ways to spend time with you. You know, I've seen couples that was really old and have 50 years together, but when that person, husband, walk into the room, this one face light up. You know, I'm at this facility, you know, and the seniors, it's a couple. She's like 80 and he like 76 or something like that. But he walks into the room and her eyes get the sparkling, he get the blushing, and she put her arms around and lay her head in his chest, and he just hover over her and just hold her so tight. And I just look at that, I'll be like, see, that's what I'm talking about, love. You know, in spite of wrinkles and stuff, and he, oh no, my baby is just precious. And she just a blushing and he blushing. That's where you find love, in spite of things that may not fit into the ideal of a lot of people. You know, people tell you, oh, when you date someone, I hear them bashing older women and younger men, and younger men with older women, or older men with younger women. That is not outlined in the Bible. God never had these age things. And then you get, oh, you got to be the same culture to interact and love each other. And I was like, what do that got to do with your inner spirit? Because see, your soul and your inner spirit, it has to be with someone you can grow with, that you can build with, okay, that you can edify, you know, that you can compliment. They can compliment you. You got to have strengths and weaknesses that can build a lifetime together. You know, you got to have those concerns, okay? You got to be at the state that if this person is hurting, yours is hurting. And all you want to do is hold them and bring them back to that point of wholeness. You know, if you don't have that spirit to want to save somebody or rescue them to a certain point, that want to build a lifetime, you know, I see couples, they be glad to get away from one another, and they be sitting in the driveway because they don't want to go inside. They don't want to deal with that person. They be like, oh, let me get a break right fast. And I'm like, that's not love. You should be rushing home from work to be around them, stop somewhere and try to find something nice for them, so when you see them, you did something sweet for them. You know, when the holidays come, you just trying to think of something to do to put a smile on their face. And you smiling because the way they responded. It's just like being intimate. Sometimes the best part of being intimate is seeing how somebody else respond to you. Okay? But if they just, okay, or a bunch of technique, this, and that, and There's no chemistry, there's no compatibility, you don't like being around each other. And best part of the way of knowing that you are compatible is when you do absolutely nothing and you smile. It's just sitting there. Have you ever just sat next to somebody and it feels like you're in another world, that the only two people there is you and them, and you're full of glow, you're full of love, you're full of joy. You know, you sitting there and you're so content just being there. It has nothing to do with money, it has nothing to do with clothes, it has nothing to do with makeup, it has nothing to do with none of that. Your hair can be nappy and standing on the head, or you got a ponytail in and you have put it in, and you know, like the back is sticking up because I done bumped it, brushed it, and everything else. It's about that. Being there in spite of, not having an impressive positioning. You know, if you see somebody and they making a six-figure or a millionaire, okay, yeah, a lot of people's eyes gonna shine because you think about the change of your financial status. But what if you enjoy each other just sitting somewhere like White Castle? That's the date, White Castle. And I tell people, if a person can't enjoy you on a White Castle date, they can't enjoy you on nothing else, because there's nothing spectacular about White Castle except they have good food. I enjoy White Castle. But it's about not impressing nobody. It's just enjoying your moment and your time with somebody. And people say, oh, that's a date that you've been knowing for years. No. See, think back when you were young and you call yourself being in love. It was cute when he ran and took a flower off a tree and came and brought it to you. Okay? And you were smiling like, oh, and he stuck it in your hair or something like that. You know, that was cute. And you thought about it, you couldn't rush to get on the phone to tell your girlfriend, girl, he went and got this flower from this tree. I was blushing. I was like, oh, look at him trying to be romantic. You know, he's doing his thing. That is where love begins. It's the little things that hold you together. It's the little things, okay? It is, you get to playing music and you don't have no rhythm and he find a way to dance with you and you both look good, okay? And you may say he didn't inspire you to dance and you don't even enjoy dancing. Normally you're not a dancer. But it's something about being with them, okay, and making it happen. It don't cost nothing. And people say love don't cost a thing. It do. Love costs being consistent. It costs you always preparing to build somebody up. Preparation and building somebody up. It requires a lot of your attendance. It requires a great portion of you letting go, not being selfish, because see, love invests. That's what people don't understand. Your time, not just your money, your resources. But when you at home and you still there, they got gas and everything, and you go get go get the air freshener that spray every so many seconds. You know, and you sitting there talking about, oh, baby, I'm gonna get you some Beano, and y'all laugh and can laugh together. That's where love steps in. That you want to be there in spite of the perfect moments. You willing to sit through it all. And I tell people that's why marriages fail. Because people getting together for financial gain, and once they gain this, then they want to hurry up and get somewhere else to go to another level. They never thought about staying and maintaining exactly where you are for the rest of your life. Will you be happy with that person? And I'm talking about the lowest place. And people be like, no, why? Why would I think like this? Because you're going to have some downs. The person you love may get cancer. You still love them when they sick. You're going to hold that garbage can when they puking. Okay? You're going to be rubbing their back. Washing their back. Maybe even their backside. Because they too weak and sick to do something. And you ain't going to be tempted to go step out because when you walk into that room with that person, when you in love, they more than enough. They more than enough. And you have to learn that being in love requires you to step out from the crowd and not meeting somebody else's ideal of love. You can't prove to your friends and family that y'all should be together. I always tell people I don't open myself up to the question and people got an opinion and saying, well, I feel you should. I be like, I feel you should mind your business. The Bible says stay out of other people matters. You can't tell me how I feel on the inside. You can't tell me the reason why I chose this person. Because some people find people to be in your life so they can have resources so they can utilize. Some people, they get off on you being miserable. Some people don't know what love is. You have to define those things for yourself, but it's for better or for worse. And even if it's during the worst of times, y'all should be happy to eat pork and beans out of a can together. Because the greatest thing is being together. You know, when you're in a relationship, you don't get up and dress up to be with this person, be around this person 24/7. You should be able to lay in the bed and have on an orange shirt and a purple pair of pants, or, you know, polka dot handkerchief on your head or headscarf. You should be able to put on anything and it shouldn't even matter. You turn around and say, oh, babe, don't worry about what you got on. Come here. Just lay right here in my arms. Okay? You should be happy to get up and cook them some food. I listen to couples talking about, ain't they slave? Well, part of being in love is part of being enslaved to one another, serving one another. It ain't all about one person. It's about you too. But you shouldn't have a problem caring for a person and investing in a person. You shouldn't have these problems. And I listen to people, the things they say is so superficial and trendy, but then when they see a couple really in love, everybody want to be envious. But don't nobody want to do the things that make them stay together. Okay? And then they just, oh, they cooking skills. Sometimes it is, baby, when I am burnt out, you make sure you feed me. Sometimes it is, I can be in my lowest point and I can be vulnerable around you. And you make me feel like $1,000,000. You pour into me that it builds me up. Okay? That's what love does. Okay? Love is not always rescuing a person. Sometimes love is, baby, we're going to go through this together. Love sometimes is correcting a person in a way that's not just totally demolishing their soul, scarring them. I mean, you can tell a person, I think you need to go to the dentist and get that tooth fixed because it's going to get in your skin, it's going to stink, your mouth going to stink. There's ways to say everything. Sometimes you should just say, baby, it's time to get that tooth together. Don't let it tear you down. Okay? I know you don't want to do this, but I want you at your best. I want you to preserve all the things that you have in top shape, you know, like your mouth, your teeth, your skin. I don't want to see you scared to go to the doctor because you got a ringworm, you hiding and you putting the pad on. I mean, I tell people you should be able to really talk about anything without them accusing you of doing this and that. And I just be looking at people like, look, as you live in this world, things gonna happen that's not gonna be desirable. Are they still gonna love you? Are they still gonna want to rescue and invest in you and be proud to be with you or seen with you? Okay? That's my analogy of love. I mean, I like for everybody to comment and tell me what do they think love is. Because I tell people sometimes love is the simplest things. Sometimes love is not cooking just a steak and potatoes and, you know, you got your side of asparagus and um, apple alamo pie, you know. Sometimes it's not all of that. Sometimes it's just sitting on the bed eating some pizza rolls with a bowl of popcorn in front of you and some cheese dips and some peanut M&Ms, and just laying across each other looking at a movie, enjoying the movie together. Sometimes it's just singing a song and don't worry about being off key. Sometimes the cutest thing is when they serenade you and they may not be on key. Sometimes they are. But it's about their expressing themselves. That's what makes it special. And that's what I look for. Sometimes I look for people, I don't even be looking, but they can be in some of the worst situations. And I ain't mean I'm going to just walk in and rescue them, I just met them, but to go through it with them. Hey, how you doing? I'm all right. You know, sometimes it's that. You may have been working at the hospital and you see a patient going in, and they can't, you know, they scared to take shots and injection, and you may be good at giving it to them, and you may give them an injection or whatever, and find out y'all have chemistry right there. You may say, okay, just do this, and I have techniques to give injection and be pain free. And they may try to say, oh, thank you. Some people they're not gentle, they just jabbing you in, you know, and you may be, thank you so much. You know, it may be, okay, I'm gonna raise you up so I can put this pain medication on your back and rub it in. And they're going through stages of different things. And it may be those things that you kept them smiling. They may turn around and say, well, you know, I was at my work and she treated me like I was human. Made me feel whole. Or he made you feel whole. You know, sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes you go, they went to a beach and went into one of the shower rooms and ended up getting athlete's feet, and you meet them and they like, well, my feet, I got to keep this cream on it and socks and this and this, but it's hard for me to reach my feet. You may be the one who put on some gloves or either nothing and put the cream on them and, you know, go that extra mile and don't judge, you know. And that's why I tell people sometimes that's what love is. Love is also knowing somebody don't mind weathering the storms with you. Sometimes that's the most important things in life. We got a situation nowadays where people don't value investing in souls. But I tell you, we're all souls. Some people have been traumatized and they need somebody to go on their healing journey with them. I ain't say be abused, but go on a healing journey. This, you know, my significant other, he's teaching me and taught me how that when bad things happen, you know, it can be a little tiny debate. I'm one of those people, you can turn around and say, well, it's hot outside, and I'd be like, well, it's not that hot, and you want to sit outside, and I'd be like, okay, you know what, I ain't gonna argue with you. We can just leave this right here. I'm good for doing that. Where he'll teach me like, no, you don't just do that. And I'd be like, huh? It's nothing wrong with compromise. Okay, we fell out for a moment. That don't mean we broke up and this, and I come from a place where I was not loved. And I tell people, me bonding with people, sometimes it's so hard because I lived in a state of mind that no one ever poured into me. I may have been pouring out, but I wasn't receiving, or someone have standing power, you know, and it kind of trips me out. And I'd be like, wow, this is deep. And I'm learning some things. It's not that I want everything to go my way. I just wonder, people have been so traumatized by people that it's people you meet, they hellish, and it's not even a relationship. It's even me seeing aunts and uncles and cousins, and they just so argumentative, oversensitive, to the point I'm cold to a lot of stuff, and they use these things, their emotion, to manipulate you. And I just tend to be, okay, I just don't want to be bothered. I don't want to tiptoe and walk on eggshells with everything I say, and I'm just not willing to go through this. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole with people and this and that, and they can be emotionally draining and, want so much of you, there's so much, to the point I have a heck of a cutoff game. You blink too hard, I'll be like, no, because I don't want to be emotionally drained or manipulated into investing in a way or expressing myself in a way that I'm not comfortable with. So, I'm going to doing things differently, and I'm doing it God's way, and it's good. It's making me reach. I watched the movie Straw, and what she had been going through. Sometimes you can go through that, just like the lady said she was going to visit her in jail. She found love right there. She found peace and understanding. She wasn't trying to look like a beauty queen, but it didn't have to be that. Sometimes some men will walk into your life and they see you right there, and they don't mind building you up. Some people are edifying. And you could be a recipient of that make you want to hold on for dear life, and you look at them in a special way. Sometimes that's where love starts. It ain't always the beautiful moments. And I went to Paris and Italy and the Bahamas. Sometimes that's not where you're going to find love. Sometimes love is in that dark place when you just lost a child, and someone teaches you how to heal beyond that point, embraces you, or their love is so strong without them even trying that they replace that person that had a grip on your soul that's no longer here. And they make life worth living. Okay? Sometimes that's where love begins. Sometimes that's where love, when you lose someone, it may teach you that you need stability in your life, because the most consistent person is no longer there. And that's what people don't understand. Sometimes you can be the person who always, came home and did all those little extra things, and, you need the front porch step fixed, and they fixed it, and then you needed someone that when you didn't feel like they was cooking. Sometimes you need that person to come in when that fixer person is no longer there. And sometimes it's not, you're not gonna find them where you think you're gonna find them. And the next person may not come in and do these things, but the next person may encourage you to do more things. Okay? And pour into somebody. And you have some way to utilize your time where someone's showing appreciation for the things that you're doing. And it can be a total switch in life. But I'm going to say this again on this video. I love for people to comment and tell me, what do they really think love is, and a beautiful expression of love. And I watched a few movies, but that Straw, sometimes you can meet a beautiful person going through a hard place, and before things get that far, it could be an opportunity. You meet someone in a dark place and find love. And I always tell people, if you can't be with me when it's raining, you can't be with me when the sun is shining. Because love doesn't decide on when it's going to love. It just happens. But I'm that girl Goddess. I want you to like, share, and subscribe, comment, and I will comment back. Bye.